get an understanding of why this is such an outstanding product and a product that is absolutely superior to the competition. Me and Colin have in fact lately gone to town tasting different meal replacement products, and our LeanShake stand out, both when it comes to the content in them and the flavor. See, just producing a protein shake that tastes good is not really that hard, but that is not what LeanShake is, and that's very important to remember, because the taste of LeanShake within the meal replacement category is truly outstanding. So, what is it that makes LeanShake stand out more than just flavor-wise? So, in general, it is because it is a product with high-quality ingredients and a nutrient content that make it function like food. It has a very balanced micro to macro nutrient content with a nicely measured insulin response, as if you're having a complete meal. What this leads to is a product with different benefits depending on how you choose to use the product. First, if you want to lose weight, you can use the product to lose weight with the comfort that the meal replacement product in your hand is made of top quality ingredients, and therefore it's a healthy alternative to a meal. Second, because of the high quality protein in LeanShake, together with that it is a product that functions like food for our bodies, with this nicely measured insulin response, you can use the product in a healthy way after, for example, exercising to build muscles. And lastly, because of the fiber content in LeanShake, it also works as ZinoBiotic Plus to balance our guts. A tip, and Hilde alluded to it just a second ago, is that if your stomach handles fiber well, it's recommended to add a scoop of ZinoBiotic Plus to 2 sachets of LeanShake. That makes up 1 portion. And that's because we've been a little restrictive with the amount of fiber in the product in order for it to work for as many people as possible, since not all stomachs handle fiber as well as others. In short, so these 3 claims, lose weight, build muscle, balance your gut, can be explained as follows. LeanShake is a high quality, low caloric meal replacement with a balanced micro to macro nutrient content that contain high quality protein, fiber that balance your gut, and the vitamins and minerals that act as a substitute for a truly healthy meal. Let's dive a little deeper into the different claims and why they are important in contemporary society, where the first one is to lose weight. So obesity and overweight is a growing problem in the world. At large, this can be attributed to our lifestyle, and what we as a population need to do is to stay active throughout the day and make sure to eat nutritionally rich meals. This is because we need to change this. Our eating habits, and when we already live sedentary lives and therefore need less calories than we historically have, we need to get the same amount of nutrients from less amount of food. However, ultra-processed foods are high in calories, but low in nutritional value, and thus are detrimental to our health. So this slide is for the US, which leads the pack for this kind of food consumption, but the rest of the world is unfortunately not far behind. And that's something we can see on this slide, where according to the World Health Organization, obesity has nearly tripled since 1975. And soon, over half of the world population will be overweight, and obesity is today killing more people than underweight. And this goes quite hand in hand in, for example, what we see with type 2 diabetes that is growing, which is also a lifestyle disease. So to get to terms with obesity and overweight, as a population, we need to move more and eat balanced and well-prepared meals. It can, however, be hard to know how to structure good meals, and it's not always that we find time to prepare them well and to get into the details about all the nutritional contents that goes into each and every meal. So to support the type of lifestyle many of us lead, LeanShake is then a great alternative when we do not find the time or have enough energy to cook a well-prepared meal. So the official claims that we can use for the products is by replacing 1 meal per day, you maintain your weight, and by replacing 2 meals per day, you will lose weight. And the logic behind it is that LeanShake are so low in calories, so that by substituting 2 meals per day, you will have less calories from your diet than what you consume, unless you start to snack more, of course. And by substituting 1 meal, you at least do not get an excessive amount of calories on a daily basis, so you're able to keep your current weight. In addition to this, when it comes to the nicely measured insulin response that we get, is that we can use our HbA1c test to first test our blood sugar levels where we at when we eat as we usually do, and then we can include LeanShake for 4 months, take another test, and then test how this new diet affects our long-term blood sugar. So this is a great product to use in relation to HbA1c if we have someone that has high long-term blood sugar levels. The second claim to go through is building muscle. And of course, this mainly refers to protein content in LeanShake, but proteins does so much more in our body. So I'll spend some time explaining what protein is and what it does. And protein is an essential part of our diet and found in a variety of foods, such as eggs, dairy, legumes, seafood, meat, nuts, and so on. No matter the source of the protein, it gets broken down in our bodies and reformed into new proteins. We generally think of proteins as building blocks for our muscles, but these proteins do everything from fighting infections to helping cells divide. So you name it, they're doing it. Sometimes when we talk about protein, we also mention amino acids. And that is because proteins are made out of hundreds or thousands of amino acids that are attached to one another in long chains. They are put together from a blueprint stored in our DNA, or more specifically from our genes. There are 20 different types of common amino acids in humans that can be combined to make up a protein. The order of the amino acids determine each protein's unique shape and its specific function or job. The 20 different common amino acids are divided into 5 non-essential amino acids. So that means that we can both get them from food and our body can make them itself. We have 6 that are so-called conditionally essential. Healthy bodies can make them under normal circumstances, but not when our body is in, for example, starvation or have certain inborn errors of metabolism. Then we need to get them from meals. And lastly, we have 9 essential amino acids, and these we only get from food. So these our body is not able to produce. And that's why these are especially important to get from the food we eat. In general, animal-based protein like eggs, seafood, milk, and meat provide all 9 essential amino acids in adequate amounts. And these are then called complete proteins. And this is where it gets a little more tricky for vegans, where most plants do not have all essential amino acids in sufficient amounts to build complete proteins. But proteins that most of the time lack in one or more of the essential amino acids. That is why it's important for vegans to make sure they get multiple protein sources in their meals during the day to get enough of all the essential amino acids. As previously mentioned, when we eat protein, they get broken down in our bodies into single amino acids that then form new proteins. And these different proteins can, for example, be messenger proteins. So hormones are an example of messenger proteins that act as chemical messengers that transmit signals from one cell to another. An example of a hormonal protein is insulin, which regulates our blood sugar, which I hope we start to know from our latest test. And another many knows about is adrenaline that, for example, in times of stress, increase blood circulation and breathing, and is part of our fight and flight response. We then have enzymatic proteins, and these help to accelerate chemical reactions in the body, including liver functions and digestion. Digestive enzymes help, for example, to break down food into simple forms that our bodies easily absorb. We then have the type of protein that most of us think of when it comes to protein, and that's structural proteins. And these are necessary components of our body and include collagen, which forms the connective framework of our muscles, bones, and cartilage. These also include keratin, which is the main structural component in our hair, nails, and skin. And the last example of protein I'll go through is defensive proteins. So we have antibodies. For example, that is a type of defensive proteins, which are large Y-shaped proteins used by the immune system to identify and attack harmful bacteria and viruses or other types of antibodies. So as you see, proteins are extremely important, and that is why we've gone for the absolute best combination of proteins in our LeanShake. First, we have chocolate and strawberry that use milk protein sources and includes collagen peptides to support connective tissue. So we have a mix of milk protein sources where the majority of protein is the best protein on the market with the highest bioavailability and digestibility, and that's whey protein isolate. And we mix it with casein protein to combine whey isolate with a slow digestion protein for the best possible combined effect. When it comes to the amount of protein in one portion for chocolate and strawberry, it contains 22 grams of whey isolate and casein protein, and that's what declared on the package. But we then have an additional 5 grams of collagen, which is also protein, which is not declared in the nutrient table. So this product actually gave us 27 grams of protein and not 22 grams, which is stated in the nutritional table. For vanilla and berry, which are our vegetarian options, we use pea protein isolate, which is a plant-based protein source that have all 9 essential amino acids. It is a little low in methionine though, and that is why we included oat protein, because oat is one of the plant's richest in methionine. For vanilla, the total amount of pea and oat protein is 16 grams. This is sufficient for a meal replacement, but when you train hard, it can be a little low. So when I train, I, for example, use 3 sachets of berry or vanilla instead of 2. And that's one alternative if you want to increase the amount of protein in the vegetarian options. And you can do that if you don't care about the amount of calories. It depends on how you use the product. We are currently also looking into potential improvements for LeanShake, and a pretty safe bet here is that we will increase the amount of protein in berry and vanilla moving forward, so that if you train more, you wouldn't need to take 3 sachets. You can do the normal portion of 2. as you do with chocolate and strawberry. So that's the claim build muscle, which we're able to do because of the high quality protein that we have included, which we now also know do a lot more for us than just building muscle. Lastly, we have balance your gut. And I'll keep this very short because if you want to dig deeper into this area, this is essentially a ZinoBiotic Plus presentation. But in short though, our gut microbiota works like this. We have different types of bacteria in our gut, and they need to have a certain balance for us to be healthy. The problem is that bad bacteria, that is gram-negative bacteria, eat just about anything, whereas good bacteria, so gram-positive bacteria, eat dietary fiber. But we all know this slide, and there is not much fiber in the ultra-processed food, and this is really bad for us because our gut microbiota is incredibly important, and we already don't get enough fiber from the food we eat in general, and then we add it up with all the ultra-processed foods, and then we get way too little for the calories that we eat. And this is bad because, for example, 70 to 80% of our immune cells are found in the gut, and our gut affects how much of the happiness hormone serotonin is released in the brain. But to put it blunt, we need to keep our gut microbiota healthy and in balance for it to work properly. And how do we do it? We eat our LeanShake, and for the stomach that handle fiber well, we add a scoop of ZinoBiotic. There you have it. Our LeanShakes that help you to lose weight, build muscle, and balance your gut.